Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Neptune Sunday. It's your boy V Moss. Last episode of 2024. Switching it up, got the Yankees hat on today. I promise I'm not a Yankees fan. I know I got the hat on today. Had on the Yankees hoodie a couple episodes ago, but I'm not a fan. Just I like the hat. It's fashionable. Yankee blue hat is classic. Um, just doing these episodes by myself and seeing myself on camera in full HD. The beard is, you can see the grays in the beard is showing my age. But anyway, welcome to the last episode of 2024. Lot to talk about to recap 2024 and music and culture, especially as it relates to Pharrell Williams and the Neptunes. Busy year for P and included music, which is great. So let's start with some other cultural highlights from P. We covered a bunch on the episode so far, but a couple things we wanted to specifically talk about that we missed so far. Just last week, P was named the UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for the Arts, Education, and Entrepreneurship. UNESCO, which is headquartered in Paris, stands for United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. It's a cultural agency of the United Nations, which is a big deal. This role involves supporting and promoting initiatives that focus on protecting indigenous cultures, advancing education and healthcare for women, advocating for vigilance against mass atrocities, and working to protect cultural heritage. So, perfect fit for P to be put in this position. Everything that this position is about aligns with Pharrell's philanthropic work that he does through Black Ambition and Team Yellow, which is Black Ambition is the fund for Black and Latino entrepreneurs, and Team Yellow is his education foundation, which strives to even the odds for people in underserved communities through education. So shout out to P, congrats. Obviously, that's big work, continuing to do great work for the culture and for us. Really appreciate that. Obviously, this is the second year that P's been at the helm at Louis V as the creative director for men's at Louis Vuitton. So this year we saw his third and fourth show. The third show, which featured an American Western theme, was in January and set the tone. Like, let's just be clear. Like, it set the tone for big cowboy themed vibes all 2024. It's cool to know. I missed this initially, but when I was going back and kind of recapping everything, I realized that Shilo and Shadeur Sanders, NFL legend Deion Sanders' sons, who have been in the news this year for their play at University of Colorado Boulder on the football team that Deion is the head coach of. Big year for them, and obviously their teammate Travis Hunter, who is going to be top 3 pick in the NFL draft and just won the Heisman Trophy. I wonder if they got paid. I didn't do too much research to see if they got paid or not. But this is, for those of you who watch and pay attention and listen, sports is another passion of mine and actually what my career has been in. Specifically college sports. So this is just another example of the highest execution of what NIL can be in terms of student athletes being able to do really cool things, get paid or not get paid, but just the fact that they can be coordinated, collaborating and involved with such a high level, high visible, high luxury brand like this. It's just another way to show that NIL is like a really cool opportunity for NIL for student athletes to grow their own brand and do cool things in the world outside of being an athlete in their sport. So shout out to P for including them, and shout out to the Sanders family. Tough loss for them to end the season last week, but excited for where Shadeur and Travis Hunter will get picked up in the draft in April. So back to Louis V. The fourth show was actually took place on the grounds of UNESCO. Pharrell organized this show in a specific order to show the spectrum of skin tones and kind of match them with monochromatic clothing that kind of showed just the different levels and how important that is for different skin tones to be matched up with different colors and showcase the different colors of us, right? He said it was an homage to human beings, which is definitely was evident in the way that he kind of signed all the athletes and had them organized in a specific way that they came out during the show. It took place a month before the Olympics, which was also in Paris. Samuel Hine of GQ referred to this show as Pharrell's own tribute to human excellence and connection, which is definitely what you get when you watch the Olympics, is the best of the best in the universe in their sports, but also it just shows how sports and specifically events like the Olympics bring us all together no matter where we're from. Um, Pharrell actually was part of a group of superstars that were in the final leg of the Olympic torch relay before the start of the game. So having the fashion show lead up to that was a perfect. Obviously, we've talked about this before. Just Pharrell just being embedded in all things that are happening in Paris. So obviously, the Olympics being there to have the fashion show and then be part of the Olympic torch relay was dope. From a music standpoint, the highlight of this show, the Clipse song "Birds Don't Sing," which features John Legend, which is a tribute to both of their parents who passed away last year. Sounds like a dope song. Obviously, that's the only chance that we've heard it is through the stream of that fashion show. But assume that this is going to be on the new album the Clipse got coming out soon, next year, 2025, called Let God Sort Him Out. Big year for P at the movies. Despicable Me 4 came out, so he's back connected with Shadeur, I hope I pronounced his name right, Shadeur Pereira, as composers and, responsible for music for the fourth installment of Despicable Me. So the big deal with this was Pharrell had an original song called Double Life that people thought was a Drake disc. Here are the lyrics. Hey, what are you hiding? What you doing when you're gone? Nothing wrong being private. Make sure it ain't wrong. Your life, double-sided, two-faced like coins. What side do I get? Which side are you on? So I haven't seen the movie, full transparency, but just from knowing about the plot pretty generically, right, it seems that this is a clear reference to the double life that Gru, the main character in Despicable Me, is living as a dad at home with his kids, but also still trying to be a supervillain. But I'm sure for those of you who are actual music fans, hip-hop fans, you could see how the speculation could be shots at Drake because it dropped right in the middle of the Drake and Kendrick beef, which Aubrey himself intentionally dragged Pharrell into. For those of you who aren't aware or missed it, here's a quick recap. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I feel like we got to talk about it. So 2023, P puts a bunch of his personal items he's collected or created throughout his career, puts them on auction for charity. That includes some of the chains that everyone's known to be, associated with P throughout his career. Chains and jewelry that are like statement pieces from him. Drake brought some of them. Wore them in a video. Jumbotron shit popping. That was on the album with 21 Savage. Fast forward, Drake gets on a song this year with Travis. The song is called Meltdown. He claims that he literally melted the chains down, which is a shot at Pusha. He said, I bought the chains of your boss or something like that. He refers to Pharrell as Pusha's boss. Why he's still trying to diss Pusha T at this point is beyond me. Anyway, then the beef gets in, we get in high intense parts of the beef. We know that drops. Then we got Drop and Give Me Whatever. But then on Euphoria, that's when Kendrick says he doesn't like him sending shots at Pharrell and he'll inherit the beef. Then Drake gets on Family Matters and says, you want to take up for Pharrell, then come get his legacy out of my house. And this is the part that really kind of rubs me the wrong way, right? As a clearly not neutral party, right? Virginia is my home. Pharrell is one of our most beloved sons of the state of Virginia. So this part bothers me because it diminishes P's legacy to some chains, which, I just talked about all the stuff that he's done this year. Louis Vuitton, United Nations, movies. So that's craziness to say. But there's a young audience that Drake has that doesn't know any better, that will think that he's right and actually salute him for actually having some really sunning him and Pusha by saying this stuff, that he's buying stuff from his boss, he's melting down chains. But if he's melting them down, why can't you come get him from his house? It bothers me a little bit. Not really, but just as as someone who gives commentary on the culture, and who happens to be from the same place and a proud Virginian like Pharrell, that part, like, not really a big fan. But ultimately, Pharrell ended the discussion in a way that only Pharrell can. In an interview in GQ when he was named Designer of the Year by GQ this year, he basically answered some questions about it and said he doesn't really care or wasn't really aware of it or didn't really even think about it when Aubrey said what he said, and he knows that Aubrey is a fan. For those of you who don't know, Aubrey has been documented as being one of the OG Star Trek forum people. You know, there's a whole story about buying the Clipse microphone. So to get to this point for him, to me, it's not really a great look. But obviously, I'm always gonna ride or die for Virginia. That's just who I am. So Pharrell ended this discussion. I'm gonna say for now, because we know with the Clipse album coming out sometime in 2025, there's no question that Pusha and or Malice will have some type of commentary to get in to this discussion, to add to this discussion from this past year. And I can't wait for that. All right, back to the movies. So, Piece by Piece, big deal this year. Pharrell's Lego movie about his life that came out. I'm not going to talk too much about it. We did a whole review of this movie back on episode 55, so go check it out. If you're a fan of what Pharrell and Chad and Shay and Pusha and Malice and everything that, you know, has been musically given to us by Pharrell throughout his career, you're gonna love the movie. So don't worry about what the critics say. Like, you don't need to be a kid to go see it because it's in Legos. It literally is just, if you are a fan, you're gonna like it, you're gonna enjoy it. It's a great story about the music you love, so go check it out if you haven't seen it. One of the highlights of the movie for me was that despite the documented issues that have come out this year as well about issues between Pharrell and Chad and their relationship not being in a great place, I thought it was very dope and very important that as the other half of the Neptunes, Chad was very present in the movie. So that was really dope to see. Shout out to Chad in general. He's still out here in Virginia doing his thing. He launched his Galaxy Gear brand this year, which looks like it's going to be selling musical instruments, which is like peak Chad to me. Like, that's what Chad is into. He's playing all the instruments. He's, you know, sitting in on high school jazz bands. Like, this is where Chad is, and I think that we just ought to be cool with that. Shout out to Chad. Also, he did post a clip on Instagram of him playing the French horn on a piece that was supposedly featured in Kanye's song from Vultures called Problematic. So he's still out here, still working. He's doing his thing. He's being Chad, and we love him for it. So, back to the music. Like I said, it's been a busy year. Glad that it included music from Pharrell. Gonna get into it really quickly with my top 5 songs from Pharrell in 2024. So, at number 5, it's The Weeknd featuring Playboi Carti, Timeless. It's co-produced by some people I never heard of, and Mike Dean, O Givolta, Twisco, Baby Kobe, and Bless with $2 signs, and then Mike Dean. So the drums sound very Pharrellish. It's expected to be from The Weeknd's new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. I'm honestly not a huge fan of The Weeknd or Playboi Carti for that matter. But I actually like this song. Like, it's throughout his career and throughout my life, there's been plenty of songs from artists who I would not typically listen to that you throw Pharrell and Chad on it in some capacity, and I'm going to check it out. And sometimes I love it, and sometimes I'm just going to like it a little bit. But I thought this one was definitely one of my favorites from this year. This year, Pharrell was also involved with The Doodles, which is the next generation entertainment company focused on immersive storytelling through the creation and distribution of live and digital experiences, original content, and lifestyle products. So they released a short film called Dullsville in the Doodleverse, which was released in September. Features 3 songs from Pharrell. First one is Doodleverse with Sway Lee and Lil Yachty. Then there's Not in the Store, which is actually a banger, featuring Coi Leray. But my favorite of the 3 and my number 4 song for 2024 is a song called Can't Hold Me Down with Lil Yachty, Lil Wayne, and Kyle Rich. The reason I picked this one is, we've all talked about it's been a lot of talk about the feature run that Lil Wayne has been on the past maybe 3 or 4 years, and this definitely continued on this song. And I think it's always dope to hear Lil Wayne on Pharrell or Neptune's production. Considering all the beef, right? Considering all the drama, like there's just an assumption that they don't have a good relationship, but they have at least a good working relationship, right? Like they've done songs since the Mr. Me Too beef, right? Like this song, I mean, Lil Wayne performed at Something in the Water in 2023, so just anytime we can get Pharrell and Lil Wayne collabing, I think it's a dope moment for the culture. So that was my number 4 song. In case you missed it, on Pharrell's 51st birthday this year, he actually gave us a present. He released the project entitled Black Yacht Rock Volume 1, The City of Limitless Access. This was a direct-to-consumer project that's available on blackyachts.com, so you can download it for free. It's straight from Pharrell to us. Us fans, if you're a fan of Pharrell's music, if you like his solo projects like Girl and even the tracks on In My Mind that are more singing R&B, you'll love this album, especially if you appreciate, yacht rock vibes when you're talking about Michael McDonald and Steely Dan type songs. If you like that, you'll love this album. If you haven't listened to it, download it, check it out. But the crazy thing to me, and if I miss this, please comment, like DM, whatever, send it to us. I'm pretty sure I've never heard or read anything where Pharrell is giving any commentary. Like, he doesn't even acknowledge that this thing came out, which is super weird, but at the same time, it's dope. It's just, he has this music that he made. Like, maybe there's another purpose for it that we'll find out about later, but the fact that he just gave it to us is dope. I'm appreciative of it, but I would love to hear a little bit of commentary and what went into it. Or like, what's the meaning of it? Like, it says Black Yacht Rock Volume 1, so it's like, when's Volume 2 coming out? But no matter what, number 3 song is from this album. It's Cage Bird Sing. Cage Bird Free. That's just my favorite song on the album, so that's why I picked that at number 3. All right, top 2. I said earlier that Pharrell set the tone for the cowboy theme this year. So we got to think that he coordinated that with his friend and collaborator, the Queen, Beyonce Knowles Carter. A month after Pharrell's cowboy-themed LV show, Beyonce announced her Cowboy Carter album during the Super Bowl and dropped 2 singles that night. So we knew Pharrell was going to be on the album. The cowboy theme was just too much of a coincidence. So it was just a matter of when that album was coming out and how many songs he was going to be on. So my pick from the number 2 song of 2024 is Beyonce's Sweet Honey Buckin', which to me, it gives it's basically 3 songs in one. The way it's broken down, it merges the sounds of R&B, country, hip hop, and Jersey club music, which is a crazy combination that I feel like only Beyonce and P could execute the way they did. Song features fellow Virginia artist Shabuzi, who's been everywhere this year. And he recently performed Sweet Honey Buckin' with Beyonce at halftime in the Texans and Ravens NFL game that was on Christmas last week. All right. Number 1 song from this year is easy to guess, Virginia Boy. Obviously, because I'm a Virginia boy. The Virginia Boy remix featuring Tyler, the Creator, which is from the Piece by Piece soundtrack. Pharrell starts it off by rapping, introducing himself as his old rap name, Magnum the Verb Lord. All the Star Trek super fans were quick to point out that the beat for this song has sounds from the intro music that was on the OG Star Trek website homepage from back in the day, which is a really cool way to just kind of tie everything out when he's doing a movie about his life and having this callback and having that be something that really like the day ones really would recognize. I thought that was really cool. Gotta shout out Tyler. His verse on it is amazing. He kills it as usual. He's obviously had a big year as well with the Chromacopia album that dropped this fall. Vogue and I talked about how much we love that album and just talked about specifically, the different Pharrell and Neptunes influences and references throughout that project. So shout out to Tyler, the Creator, as well. So some other songs that didn't make the top 5 for me, but were highlights for the year. They released an old Miley song called Doctor that was from the Bangers album session back in 2014, and a Mumford & Sons song called Good People that both of those songs were played at the cowboy themed LV show. P actually reconnected with Usher on a song called Cold Blooded from the album that Usher released this year. And then another song that just came out with Earth Gang called You Gotta. Earth Gang guys got a shout out there from they went to Hampton University, even though they don't really claim it because they got kicked out. But that was a really dope song. Really, really love their energy on that song because it's definitely not like it's definitely the vibes of a Pharrell song in 2024, but Earth Gang definitely does their thing on that song as well. Looking into 2025, couple big things in 2025. So another musical inspired by Pharrell's life called Atlantis, wrapped up filming in my hometown, Richmond, Virginia. Scheduled to release the movie in May 2025. Cast includes Anderson .Paak, Quinta Brunson, Halle Bailey, and more. I want to give a shout out to my little homie Leon from the 804, one of my former interns at Richmond and at VCU. Said he was an extra in the movie, which is dope. Happy for him. And then one of my high school classmates, Sarah, was actually on the costume design team. So really dope to see what that movie looks like, especially with it filming in my hometown of Richmond and being kind of another way to tell the story of Pharrell's part and Pharrell's perspective of Virginia and kind of our history and culture from the state. So excited about that. Gotta assume the soundtrack's gonna be dope too. I think maybe that's where some of these Black Yacht Rock songs will come into play because it's got a similar vibe, right? When you think about the 70s and 80s vibe, that's the setting of the movie. So maybe some of those Black Yacht Rock songs will appear in the movie or on the soundtrack. And then, hands down, number one thing we're excited for in 2025. Hoped it was gonna be in 2024, but hey, I'm just excited for it. Clipse are back. Album's called Let God Sort 'Em Out. We've heard 2 songs from 2 of the different Pharrell Louis V shows. Pusha says the album is done. So can't wait. Like, that's it. That's all I can say is can't wait. Also today, Malice being real mysterious on his Instagram story posted a video of a podcast setup with 3 microphones and couches, and there was a neon sign in the background that just had the letters RE in capital letters. Could RE stand for re-up? Maybe we get a podcast with the re-up guys, pushing Mal and Ab Lava, maybe talking about the album. I don't know. Whatever it is, can't wait to see what that is. And it's got to be big for Malice to really be pushing it and saying, hey, this is coming. Like, that's showing that he's really outside and he's really back, which I'm excited to see and excited to hear what this album sounds like. Looks like and sounds like, because that made me think of B-Dot was doing a live and was asking where the Clipse album is, and Upscale Vandal hopped in and said that the visuals for this album are just as good, if not better, than the music. So that was not a Freudian slip. Want to see what this album looks like and sounds like. Can't wait for Let God Sort Them Out in 2025. So that wraps up the final episode of season 4 of Neptune Sunday Podcast. Got to shout out my partner Vogue. Can't thank you enough for riding shotgun on this journey with me. Thank you to all of our guests from season 4: Kia Turner, Nick McGloster, Mike Etheridge, DJ Chef Dro, my man Who, Somia Krishnamurthy, Trayvon Edwards, and Tahir Murray. Got a shout out to Something in the Water Cousins group for inviting me to their screening of the Piece by Piece movie. See y'all in April. And got to shout out my family and friends who attended our first live recording this summer. Hopefully we'll do at least one, maybe 2. We'll see how the year goes. Want to do a couple live episodes next year, but we'll see how that works out. And then last but certainly not least, shout out to all the listeners, viewers, and subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for interacting on social, commenting, sharing, just having conversations. It really makes us feel like we're building this community of people who, we're sharing these experiences with, or, just connecting with because of the music and culture and how it made us feel. And that's what this is all about. I tell people all the time, this is not about like just worshiping P in chat. Like, this is about talking about the culture, talking about what the music has meant, because it's art and we interpret it and it affects us in a different way. And so I appreciate you guys being open to listening my perspective of it, but I also appreciate you guys giving it back to me. So thank you again to all of our followers, likes, people who like and subscribe, everything. Appreciate you guys' support. One last thing. I know I said the voting for the R&B, top R&B songs was closed, and we're supposed to talk about it in this last episode, but I changed my mind. So the voting's still open. Please, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, go to the link in our bio and click on the link tree so you can go and vote for your top 10 Neptunes R&B songs. Gonna get some more votes in and figure out how we're gonna release that and how we're gonna announce that top 10 sometime next season. But the voting's not closed. Go vote. Let us know. Excited about that. I really want to hear from you, because we had a lot of great input when we did our Pharrell Raps bracket. So we really want to have some similar input from our fans and listeners out there. So definitely go vote as soon as you get a chance. All right. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been another season of the Neptune Sunday podcast. We'll catch you next time. Happy New Year. See you in 2025. Peace and love.